Welcome back to Lakeland, Florida. A little bit of a break there as we prepared for our top cut. As you may have seen on the graphic, 4 players remaining, all players we've seen already on stream. But the rest of the field didn't really get a look in on this one. A small field taken down.
No, yeah. And we're going to have Don Check and Brady Smith on stream. We've had them both on, but I don't think we've had a matchup between them on stream yet.
No, we had Brady playing Alex, and then we had Don versus Emily, then Emily versus Brady. And then, yeah, so the potential rematch is coming up for, of course, the top cut. But, you know, that's what happens at these smaller events. Still, nice to see essentially best of 6.
Yeah.
I guess. Is that a real metric?
7?
Maybe. Best of 7, just like Theresa May in Parliament this week. She's giving it a go, but she's still not made it there this week. So good try there, Theresa.
Yeah, it's always the 4th try.
Just remembering my home nation there. Anyway, I think our players are ready. You know, both the DSs are ready. They've even got the privacy protecting, no screen peeking cards in. So they're definitely ready to go. We'll get them playing in a second, and we'll be able to take a little bit more chat about their team. So, you know, both players putting interesting matches up on stream. Don having to traverse that tricky juniors division matchup in the last round. And Brady's appearances, a mixed bag, I think it's safe to say. So we'll see, you know, who can come out here when it is a little more on the line. You know, kind of winner moves on, and that's going to be key for them as the teams pop up on the screen.
And Brady is definitely having flashbacks here. Earlier, he lost to Emily, who was also playing the Kyogre and Palkia. Additionally, Don has Salazzle, Whimsicott, Tapu Lele, and Kartana. Brady's going to see if he can traverse this matchup using his own Kyogre, but he has Ho-Oh, Incineroar, Toxicroak, Amoonguss, and Landorus Therian form.
Bring Salazzle if you're not a coward. That's all I'm saying. I mean, like, the Salazzle here could be interesting. I want to see Salazzle versus Toxicroak, like these weird poison types that people bring.
Yep.
Salazzle's going to help out against the Amoonguss a little bit if you can get it in before the rain comes into play. In general, I just think it's going to be an interesting choice. But overall, you know, Brady has talked pretty loudly in this venue about what does he do against Palkia. And he has to go through one right now. So it's really up to him to discover immediately how to get around that Palkia. Don does play his Palkia a little differently to Emily. Emily's a little more keen to play it with the Trick Room and, you know, maybe more consistent damage with that orb. Don, on the other hand, bring Kyogre, hit Hydro Vortex, win the game. That's the kind of roadmap. I don't think it's going to work as well against Brady, but it's something to consider.
No, for sure. And I think, going back to that Salazzle, Don has an interesting play here where I think Salazzle, if you can take care of the rain, it has neutral or super effective coverage on every single one of Brady's Pokemon. It hits 2 of them super effectively with Flamethrower. We have to remember that Toxicroak's dry skin gives it a weakness to fire moves. And Landorus certainly doesn't like taking sun-boosted Flamethrowers. So I think maybe we do see Salazzle, but judging by the fact that Don's led with his own Lele setting up Psychic terrain, we might not see that fake-out user.
No, and I don't think he's going to bring it. I think that there's just the omnipresent rain is going to leave that Salazzle on the bench. That said, Don's matchup's rather nice here. The Kyogres mirror off against each other rather well, but Don has Tapu Lele to apply pressure to Amoonguss, so should be in a solid position here to try and put that damage down as soon as possible.
And I think a Psychic and a Water Spout here, focusing the Amoonguss, could just be a good move for Don, but Don's going to opt to protect here, realizing that Lele has a good matchup into Brady's team.
Yeah, I mean, he's not going to take damage from this Water Spout. Maybe just trying to scout out to see who's maybe a quicker Kyogre. Could be important to get that piece of information. As a critical hit lands over on Don's side, that means his Water Spout's going to be absolutely weak. But it still chips both of the Pokemon down on Brady's side, as Amoonguss will spore into that protecting Tapu Lele. So maybe a smart play here from Don to realize, hey, you know, I'm going to be able to get some chip damage down. Maybe he knows his numbers, and he knows that Tapu Lele needs a little bit of help before it can get Amoonguss knocked out immediately.
And it's interesting to see Brady targeting down the Lele with a Spore there instead of doubling into the Kyogre with a Grass Knot, but maybe he thought that the Kyogre was going to go for a Protect, and we're going to see Don opt to protect his Kyogre by switching in Kartana.
Yep, Kartana will come in and taking these hits very, very well, and takes potentially nothing from the Amoonguss. Does get immediately knocked out by this Water Spout, though. You know, maybe not so smart play there. But Kartana isn't the strongest, and Psyshock will go towards that Kyogre. Does get the knockout there, but Amoonguss is going to be free to move.
So we're going to see big knockouts on both, and Lele revealing safety goggles. That's a big reveal, but wasting 2 turns from that Amoonguss attempting to spore the Lele is going to put some momentum back on Don's side, seeing as he KO'd one of Brady's restricted Pokemon.
Yeah, I actually quite like that play overall. You know, he's in a really good position now to almost ignore the Amoonguss. Amoonguss has to be careful of just getting Psy-shocked. And then potentially the other Pokemon on Brady's side is just going to have to worry about this Kyogre. It's going to be a Ho-Oh as well. Yes, Kyogre has been weakened significantly, maybe why it's been forced to switch, because it's locked itself into Water Spout and it's struggling a little bit with that problem. But, you know, you switch it out, and you could just have a really simple matchup here where Lele deals with Amoonguss and Kyogre deals with Ho-Oh.
Yeah, it's interesting to see where this Ho-Oh matches up in speed, and we're going to see the Lele move before Ho-Oh and opt to attack into that Amoonguss, knocking it out with a Psy-shock.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
No, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, nice starter play. Kyogre will move before this Ho-Oh activate the Passo Berry over, is it Passo or Pasho?
Pasho.
Oh, my apologies.
It's still taking a lot of damage.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you've weakened it, but it's not quite what you want to see damage-wise, especially when you just lost your Amoonguss. And Ho-Oh does decide to set up a Tailwind, which I do quite like.
And I actually think Brady probably has his Landorus Therian in back. I think, oh no, we're going to see Toxicroak.
Yeah, I quite like that, actually. You know, particularly now with both of Don's Pokemon weakened, Toxicroak's in a good position, along with this Ho-Oh, to just tidy up, right? So Poison Jab will tidy up on that Lele. Then you could see the Ho-Oh try and take out the Kyogre. Of course, the Kyogre, the fact it's being forced to switch a couple times as well means it could just not be able to attack this Toxicroak unless it switches out, which is going to be a problem if it's stuck in after this point. Tapu Lele, you know, has already gone down. There's no more switching left.
And Ho-Oh's not going to go down to that recoil. Tapu Lele was very low. And Kyogre's going to survive, but miss with Hydro Pump.
Yeah, that's absolutely huge. That means that basically whatever Pokemon comes in now, the Palkia, pretty good choice.
Yeah, I would say Palkia is pretty good here.
Yeah, if Palkia had a spread move, that would be fantastic. But, you know, at least Palkia can hit this Toxicroak with Spatial Rans. It can try and work its way through. But this game would have been so much easier for Don if he had managed to knock out that Ho-Oh with the Hydro Pump.
Yeah, and we do know that this Toxicroak is Assault Vest, so Palkia is not going to do a whole lot of damage here, and I expect this Brave Bird to go into Palkia.
Yeah, I think you have to. Like, now you just focus on the Palkia, because that is essentially your win condition. Brave Bird doing a good amount, over half there, is going to be enough. The big thing here, Palkia needs to move before Toxicroak twice, and it's not going to be given that opportunity. Poison Jab right now will not
It doesn't, but that poison is crucial.
Yeah, the problem is, and I think this information's kind of been given up, critical hit kick could change everything though for Don. Not happening. That bar's just not moving quick enough. As Kyogre's Hydro Pump, it will just keep landing on this dry skin. And based on the way that he's been playing it so far, Don's got one of those choice items.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And that means that an endgame situation like this, Brady is able to close it up with ease. There's no way that Don can actually deal damage to Brady right now. So essentially he's just going to be able to wear it out with Poison Jabs, Drain Punches. Not going to be a problem.
Yeah, and with Psychic Terrain ending there, even if he hadn't seen the poison on Palkia, he could have cleaned it up with a Sucker Punch, which is a move that Toxicroaks so often carry.
Yeah, and I mean, not just that. I mean, you were still able to move first. You were able to take the Spatial Rand. You were going to be able to do a whole lot more damage. So Don, you know, had some good turns. That Hydro Pump miss, I think, is huge, though.
For sure, yeah.
I think if you connect the Hydro Pump there, then, yeah, Kyogre's out of the game, but at least you've got a couple more turns, like maybe 2 more turns to Spatial
Yeah,
Rand.
and if you're fishing for a crit there, you get 1 hit, you take the Toxicroak down to, say, 70% after the healing, you hit him with a crit, maybe you fish that game out.
Yep, and we'll have to see what Don can adapt to. He's down a game. You know, Brady was concerned about the Palkia, but he was able to find that option, which was, you know, a Brave Bird, then follow up and try and deal more damage.
And I think Emily has a more sticky Palkia. It's got higher defensive training, it's harder to knock out, it's a little bit bulkier, it has some support for the rest of the team, and I think that's why her Palkia gave Brady such an issue, whereas Don's Palkia is clearly much more offensive, it has some less, like, a little less bulk investment. It's going down to these moves that weren't killing Emily's.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be a bit of a difference. We'll have to see if Don get a little more value out of something like that Palkia. Maybe land the Z move in this one, but you've got to be so scared, of course, of it. We are going to see a change from Brady, though. That Landorus Therian for the first time today, facing down against Kartana and Tapu Lele, partnered up on Brady's side, of course, with that ever-popular Kyogre.
No, I think Landorus is a good bring here. I think Brady had fought himself into a position where Landorus would have cleaned up the last game under Tailwind, being able to Earthquake those low HP Pokemon would have been great. And I think he realizes having another offensive threat that can directly threaten Palkia is how he's going to win this game.
Yeah, I think that's going to be important for him, and that's something that, you know, he's learned over the course of this very brief, very short tournament, is if there's a threat, you've got to deal with it a little earlier. So we'll see just how much it can do early on in this game. Tapu Lele starts off with the Protect again. It seems to be Don's MO for Tapu Lele's start. Skartana will Leaf Blade after an Intimidate, though, is going to be enough still.
Yeah, that looks like a critical hit to me.
Yep. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Big crit and a Beast Boost to make up, of course, for that Intimidate drop. A U-turn here will connect with Kartana, but it's not going to do too much.
And another crit. And that gets, I think that gets, nothing wrong with that. I think that gets meaningful chip down on the Kartana. Normally Kartana's high defensive stats would prevent that from being like super huge, but taking a rough third of its health is going to make it softer, especially for Pokemon like this Toxicroak to come in and potentially Drain Punch it. And I doubt Brady brought the Amoonguss this game, especially after seeing that the Lele has safety goggles and Don also has the Kartana and the Whimsicott. Amoonguss is almost useless here.
Yeah, and Brady here showing exactly why his Landorus variant is called in and out. You literally put it in, intimidate, get it out, bring it back. It's just ridiculous. So that Kartana is, again, a lowered attack number. But, you know, it's done its job. It's already connected with what it needed to connect with. It's landed the hit. So it could be in a pretty good position. Whimsicott will come in, so maybe buying a little bit of time after that Tapu Lele. Doesn't want to get poison jabbed, but Whimsicott isn't going to do too well with it either. Leaf Blade connects right here as we immediately see a Z move from Brady's side.
Yeah, and I expect this to go into the Kartana, just finish it off before it can fish out a couple more crits and ignore that minus attack and work its way back to a neutral state.
Yep. Tectonic Rage, it's a bit of a classic. Used to be probably, I'd argue, the most popular Z move back when Z moves were first introduced. Kind of waned in formats where it's been around. You know, people have gone with a bit more variety. Whimsicott, a great switch in there, able to take that so well. The Drain Punch, though, from Toxicroak, not enough.
It's still going to survive, even with a critical hit U-turn on the previous turn, and that's important.
Yeah, I mean, that gives Kartana another option to land critical hit Leaf Blade here, which would be great against this, something like this Landorus. And now Whimsicott coming in as well, really smart there from Don. Basically able to come in, take that Tectonic Rage with ease, and give Don a turn to do something disruptive. So even set up a Tailwind here would be great for that end game, which means Brady's going to be behind the pace. That was something he was looking to do. Yeah,
and we're going to see the Psychic Terrain preventing the Toxicroak from Sucker Punching Kartana and just knocking it out. And also the fact that, that's an important hang-on. But Landorus using its Tech Z means that it doesn't have that to hit a potential Palkia in the back.
Yeah, and I'm actually quite interested to see that this Whimsicott hangs on, because I think if you're Don, you actually want it to get knocked out, weirdly enough. You want to be able to switch out and then go, okay, Palkia, Kyogre in Tailwind, and just go from there. That said, you know, there could be maybe an option or two from this Whimsicott. You know, Whimsicotts did kind of mix it up, even in the championship team back in 2017, it did carry an offensive move, so you can't forget that that's certainly an option right here.
Now, I really like Don's position here. Because the Whimsicott didn't get knocked out, it does mean it can throw a taunt at that Amoonguss, which means no Spore shenanigans, even though the two actives are immune to it. But Lele can't be redirected, it can't be Sucker Punched. It's free to start throwing super effective moves at this Toxicroak.
Yeah, I mean, that's the big thing is, you know, you've just got to go for it. Don't forget, there is, of course, the Psychic Terrain in play, which limits literally an option every time. It limits so many options when it's in play, and yeah, you could try and stall it out, but I don't think it's going to be worth it. Amoonguss will Rage Powder, but you know, we've already seen the safety goggles.
Potentially forgetting about the safety goggles there.
Yeah, Whimsicott's just going to Moonblast. Wants to make sure maximum damage is going down onto this Toxicroak. And the safety goggles also means Psyshock's going to hit Toxicroak.
Yeah, and
not a problem.
Yeah, especially in terrain, that 4x weakness is huge. And I think maybe there's a world where Brady instead throws out a Spore to try and catch a potential switch-in, or maybe even just Grass Knots the Lele for some damage.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to try and get some damage down at that point. Because that was literally a wasted turn where the Amoonguss did nothing of value because of the typings, because of the you know, the safety goggles, and it just sat on the field, which
Yeah.
is not what you can afford to do.
And without Tech Z here, I don't think there's any way for this Landorus to one-shot knock out the Lele.
No, I mean, the Landorus's best option is to, you know, I guess, try and get damage down, but it's moving too late. That Tailwind has just been so valuable for Don at the end of this game. Tapu Lele will get to Psyshock, full health in the Psychic Terrain. Amoonguss easily knocked out. There ain't nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. And so,
easy way to end those games.
Yeah, we're going to see Dawn close out that game. Again, I question Brady's willingness to bring the Amoonguss there, like we talked about it. Dawn brought 3 Pokemon that are immune to everything Amoonguss can do in this matchup.
Yeah, don't bring it.
It's Brady was playing with 3 Pokemon.
Yeah, I mean,
less because the Kyogre got crit in 1 turn.
Yeah, I mean, that was a real big problem for him. Yeah, I think the Landorus was a good selection. But, you know, we could just see Don step it up and keep going in this game 3. You know, really exciting play from him there. Don't really see there's any need to change if you're in Don's position. I think everything he bought worked from there. You know, he was only bringing 1 of the restricteds, but Tapu Lele's been putting in an absolute shift.
Yeah. And I think on Brady's end, either bringing the Ho-Oh or the Incineroar is good here. I know it's counterintuitive to bring fire types to a rain matchup, but we saw Dawn brought 3 fire weak Pokemon in that matchup, or 2 fire weak Pokemon.
Right.
And Incineroar matches up against them very well. Ho-Oh matches up with them fine. As long as you deal with the Lele for that Ho-Oh, I think you can build up enough offensive momentum. I think Amoonguss is too defensive, and it's too useless in this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're Brady here, you've got to look at something like Kyogre, Ho-Oh, maybe just Toxicroak, and then I guess the Landorus. I don't particularly like that he left the Ho-Oh there, and we didn't even see Don's Pokemon in the back. Like,
yeah.
What happens if he'd got to the Palkia? Where was the answer going to be to that? So, curious to see Brady's adaptations there when he did win game 1. It just felt very forced.
Yeah. Especially, I feel like it was his game to lose, especially since he won game 1 without Amoonguss. Why hamstring yourself by bringing it again when you know it's not going to do anything?
We'll see if it turns up in game 3. I'd definitely be shocked to see it turn up. We are going to see a lead I think we've seen multiple times. Whimsicott and Tapu Lele from Don, certainly different, but you know, an early Tailwind could be really big here.
And we also know that the Whimsicott has access to that Sunny Day.
Yeah, I mean, that's also an option, is you Sunny Day and take the hit, or, you know, you Tailwind now, Sunny Day next turn. You know, we've seen Don is not afraid to protect Tapu Lele, and Whimsicott's pretty much guaranteed to get something down.
Yeah.
We know it can take the Z move, and we know it's got the Focus Sash to take a Water Spout as well, so, you know, it's interesting to see exactly how Brady goes for this.
I think it's likely we see a Tailwind and some sort of offensive presence from Lele, but Don has shown that he is willing to throw out that Protect on turn 1.
Yeah, he's going to do it for the 3rd time in this set, keeping Tapu Lele safe. This Whimsicott just sets up Tailwind. I think if the Whimsicott gets knocked out here, it's actually going to be really, really tough for Brady to deal with this, because he's just going to be basically attacking constantly behind the turn. Whimsicott takes the Water Spout very, very well. As the U-turn will land. Yes, he's going to get the Intimidate for later, but Don's now going to be able to bring in 2 offensive threats at once, one of which could very realistically be the Kartana.
Yeah, I think being able to get this almost free switch into a Pokemon that can take advantage of Tailwind is going to be extremely powerful, especially since this Toxicroak can't Fake Out.
Yeah, this is something I talk about, you know, people a lot. It's like when you set up Tailwind, do you want your Tailwind setter to be able to capitalize on it? Or do you want your Tailwind setter to be able to just get out of there as soon as possible? We're not going to see the Kartana, which I think would have been a great selection if that's what he had. Maybe an indication he's not bought it in this set, but, you know, the Kyogre was a bit of a tough one for him to use in game 1 where he lost. This Tapu Lele, though, will be able to deal with that Toxicroak as soon as possible. So it may quite simply be, you know, Kyogre versus Kyogre with Tapu Lele just dealing with Toxicroak.
Yeah, I think there's a real world where the Lele just pops the Toxicroak. The Kyogre isn't a huge threat, though. Maybe a Psyshock onto the Kyogre just to gut its Water Spout.
Yeah, I think that's going to be important, is to make sure that you're not taking any unnecessary damage. Big thing here, though, you know, it's got to be that Tapu Lele dealing with that Toxicroak. It's really the only option. No protects as Psyshock just lands. Looks like another 1-hit knockout in the Psychic Terrain for Tapu Lele.
And I think Brady knew that was coming, and I think he was probably fine with it coming. But we're going to see a single target Water Spout do 90% of Brady's Kyogre's health.
Yeah, that's Water Spout doing so much more, purely because of the single target. I mean, that's such a key mechanic that people sometimes forget about. If you've only got one Pokemon on the field, hey, there's no damage reduction for it being spread. Like, yeah, spread moves hit both, but they do a little less damage for that benefit when they hit both.
And possibly revealing that Dawn is carrying that choice specs item.
Yeah, I think that's pretty wise, but if you're going to be locked into a move right now, the Dry Skin Pokemon's gone, you've only taken an absolute pittance of your health, a solid 9 damage down on that Kyogre, so you should realistically just be able to tear through things.
Yeah, and you have Tailwind up.
Yeah, I mean, right now, he's going to do a lot with Psyshock.
And that's a crit, and I don't know if the crit matters here because Water Spout was coming out anyways.
Yeah, I mean, full health Water Spout in the rain, even with the Pasho Berry, it's just not going to be enough, really, is it?
Yeah, I think the double target into that Whimsicott really cost Brady the game here. It gave Dawn too much momentum. That free switch into Kyogre it lost him the game.
Yeah, I mean, it's great to take the knockout early on, but there's also value to just leaving that Pokemon on the field and basically forcing them to switch. If you're forcing your opponent to switch in at the beginning of their turn, that's a turn they're not able to do anything. That Kyogre came in and was immediately able to act. And that's something I think a lot of people overlook when they're kind of playing through, especially these very quick, very high-octane games.
Yeah, and I think the Landorus is just going to protect here, try and stall out a turn of Tailwind. I think this is the last turn of Tailwind.
This will be the last turn, yeah. We had 2 big Water Spouts.
It's going to be interesting to see if this Landorus can actually come back from this. It can double target, but if an Earthquake's not going to take out 2 knockouts here.
Yeah, I mean, Rock Slide's your only way to stop them both attacking as well. And even Tapu Lele just moving first, even without the Tailwind. So you've got to knock that out this turn or you lose.
Yeah,
quite
and
simple.
I think the Lele revealing that it moves first, regardless of the Kyogre acting here, seals the game for Dawn.
Yep, there it is. Dawn, check. Moving on to our finals here with a big old Water Spout. That Landorus was a potential answer, but wasn't quite enough in the long run. So Donchek's going to be our first finalist. Not quite sure what happened in the other game. But I think we'll be having a rematch from earlier to be our Midseason Showdown champion today.
Yeah, Dawn just taking the momentum he was given in that Game 3 and steamrolling with it. And honestly, if he can take that momentum, that kind of winning high, into a match he's already played, I think he has the potential to take it. But Emily has shown she is no slouch.
Yeah, well, we're going to get that game going as soon as possible for you guys. Just give us a moment to get the players moved and reseated, and we'll be back with our Midseason Showdown finals.